Hello and welcome back to Afterglow. You're listening to episode 65, and as you heard from the intro, it's going to be another special month. Shout out to Soups from the Secret Levels Discord for this name. It is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Secret of the Reviews, where each week this month we will be covering another retro Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game. It's going to be a great month, and on top of that, I have not one, not two, but 3 different guest hosts that are going to be on for this month as well. Possibly a 4th one, I don't know quite yet. Might just do that one on my own, depending on, whether I can get someone on who really wants to talk about it or not. But, all kinds of guests, more than we've ever normally had. And another cool thing about this one, I believe that my host for this episode is actually my first one from overseas, which is really, really cool. Over where he's from, whenever he played this, they were Hero Turtles instead of Ninja Turtles at the time, although now they are Ninja Turtles. But on top of that, this is also, if I recall, the first Game Boy game that we are covering. I believe I covered a Game Boy Advance game. I don't think I've ever covered an old school original Game Boy game. Till now, of course. And after our music cut, you can hear me and our guest host, Martin from the Reviews Brothers, talk all about it. And welcome back. Like I said earlier, we'll be going over Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Fall of the Foot Clan, and we do have a guest on for this episode, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hey, my name's Martin. You may know me as the Reviews Brothers on various YouTubes and other medias. So yeah, excited to be here.
Yep, I put out a call for people who had played and enjoyed the retro turtle games, and Martin was one of them who answered, and he played the Game Boy Fall of the Foot Clan, which I played a little bit as a kid too. How did you originally find out about this game and get a hold of it?
This was one that I didn't really have a Game Boy until much later, but my cousin did. And we used to go to my cousin's house after school during the week, and he had a Game Boy and maybe 5 or 6 games, and this was one of them. He actually had this one and the one before it, I believe it was, which was Back from the Sewers. And we played the hell out of both of them, basically. So yeah, we got very used to this game.
Now, the other two games, of course, we're not really featuring in this episode, but I actually never got to play them until the Cowabunga collection. This is the only Game Boy game I'd played until those came out.
Oh, I haven't played it, because the other one's Radical Rescue, I think, isn't it? That one I've never played.
I played it in the Cowabunga collection. It's kind of like a Metroidvania, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, I really do want to check that. That is some of my favourites, Metroidvania, so I really should give that a go at some point.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it. But this game here, too, I really enjoyed, too. It's very short, very basic, but if you're just wanting a quick playthrough, this is an awesome pick.
Yeah, I think so. Going back to it, it's surprising, you know, when I hadn't played it for years, and then obviously I saw, you know, you saw your message, anything to do with Turtles, I'm always up for it, because I was a huge Turtle head growing up. And we had the NES game. Funny enough, we didn't have the arcade NES port. We had that on the Commodore 64, which was definitely not as good as the NES version. But again, my cousin had the NES game, you know, the notoriously difficult one. You know, we just anything Turtles. So yeah, I saw that and I had to jump on. I had to talk about it.
Well, I think that this game actually has a lot to do with the NES game. That it's almost like an improved version. It's a heck of a lot easier, but there's similarities in the fact that you get to pick which turtle you start out with. Your turtle is quote-unquote captured instead of killed whenever you lose a life.
Yeah, you get that cool bit of artwork as well, don't you? If you lose your life, there's the turtle laying on the floor with all the foot soldiers behind him about to grab him, which was pretty cool.
Yep, it's not really a beat 'em up either. It's definitely, like, the gameplay feels a lot more like that NES game, the first one, than the second one.
Yeah, there's no combos, nothing like that. I was a little disappointed with playing it again. Like, the turtles are basically identical. There's no... I couldn't tell any difference between any of them. Even, like, the weapon reach maybe was a little longer, but the animation, the look... Obviously, there's no colour, of course, so it's all... The actual turtles look the same, they're just holding a different weapon, which was a little bit of a shame. But
I felt like it was a life system, because they all have identical abilities.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. So you've got your bow staff, your katanas, all that business, but you just sort of whack forward with them, don't you? It's not a different attack. And you've got a jump kick. And did you notice if you crouch and attack, you throw ninja stars? Yeah,
but a weird thing, the ninja stars aren't as powerful as your standard attack.
Yeah, and some of them, like the robot enemies, they just bounce off.
Yep.
So I didn't bother with them.
Yeah, at first I'm here like, oh cool, you know, I forgot about the ninja stars, and I realized why I forgot, because I never used them.
yeah, no, they're useless, pretty useless. And you've got a really good jump. You jump like the entire size of the screen. In fact, you even go off the screen a bit as well, I think, if you do a full high jump. That comes in really handy, because some of the levels... There's only 5 levels in the game, isn't there? So, and you kind of start out in the streets, and April's been kidnapped. Of course she has, that's her favourite hobby. But, yeah, so you're chasing her down, and there's not a huge amount of enemies either, which was a bit of a shame. I wanted a few more recognisable bad guys, I thought.
The main thing that I felt like you had to master in this game was that twitch movement, where you can attack to the left, and then very quickly attack to the right, and you had to master that.
Yeah, you can get 2 enemies with the same animation, can't you? Yeah, because normally what happens is you'll be walking from left to right, and then an enemy will appear from either side of the screen. And like you say, yeah, if you can time it right, you just hit your attack button and then flip from left to right, and you'll get them both. And it's really satisfying to do it.
Yeah, it's great when it happens, but I mean, you gotta master it, because there's many times where the enemies will jump in at you, and with their arc, you can't really jump to get out of the way.
That's true, actually. Nice. Yeah.
And you can take one, but you can't get to the other unless you do that quick flip.
Yeah, that's definitely it. Because most of the damage I took was... Because pretty much every enemy only takes 1 or 2 hits. They're not very difficult to kill at all. Aside from the bosses, which take a few more hits. But most of the time with the damage I took, it seemed to be from that exact situation where it's kind of like, well, I can get one of these, but if I don't time it right, there's no physical way for me to hit them both.
Yeah, everything comes at you slow enough to where you can typically take a breath and plan your counterattack, but whenever they come in at both sides, unless you do that incredibly fast left-right or right-left, you'll end up taking damage.
Yeah. And so most of the bad guys as well, they're just kind of foot soldiers, which I guess makes sense. You know, that's the army that Shredder and Krang have, I suppose. You also get a few little flying robot things, and you get the mousers. And
the mousers are huge.
Yeah, they are, aren't they? They still only take one hit. And then there's those robots, the ones that fire the electric rope thing to tie you up.
Yeah, the ones that were in the Technodrome in the arcade game.
Yeah, that's the ones. Yeah, so they make a reappearance. They're the only ones I think that take 2 hits. But they're still not too bad as long as you don't stay too close to them for very long. But there's also a few random things. Did you notice in the first level there's like a weird... It's like a few foot soldiers riding a motorbike that'll try and run you over.
Yeah, and the only way you can dodge them is just literally do that really high jump. And even then, the hitbox is smaller than the actual sprite for that foot soldier motorcycle car thing. Like, you can land or jump a little early or a little late and you'll still be fine.
Yeah. So those are the main... And later on in some of the levels there's like rolling rocks or balls or... sometimes like spike things that just appear out of nowhere, but the only way to get around them is just to dodge them.
The balls, they kind of disappointed me because they are just a solid sprite. They don't have anything that makes it look like they're rolling, which is really weird because in the first stage, whenever you go into the sewer, the water actually has parallax scrolling, which is really cool to see on the Game Boy.
I didn't even notice that.
Oh, it looks fantastic. It's probably the best effect in the game.
I was just pleased that when I fell in the water, that it didn't kill you, and you can actually walk in the water. Because I thought, is this going to be one of those bloody games where the turtle can't bloody swim?
It doesn't drag you back to the beginning of the stage.
Yeah, well, that would have been awesome. Yeah. Well, also, what made me laugh as well is at the end of the first level, you jump up in the air. So you're out on the city streets. You jump in the air to exit the level, and then the start of the next level is you landing in the sewers. So you jumped in the air and somehow jump through the world into the sewer. That was cool.
The part that probably made me laugh the most was there's a stage where you're traveling on top of vehicles, and you're going across this big line of vehicles, and on the back of all the trucks are Tetris pieces.
That's literally what I said yesterday. I was like, oh, I'm on Tetris trucks. Yeah, and that's exactly what it looks like. And then sometimes the Foot Clan will pick some up and throw them at you.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and you can hit it back at them, but it doesn't actually kill them. But you can hit the if you hit the block in time, it will deflect it, which is pretty cool.
But I love the fact that on a system that was really known for Tetris in its early days, like the Tetris pieces made a comeback.
I wonder how deliberate that was. I wonder if they knew, or if it was just a graphics thing.
I feel like they knew just because, like, I can see
it's very Tetris.
I could see him maybe not getting it if it were only just the pieces on the truck, but the fact that the foot soldier grabs a Tetris long piece and chucks it at you, it's like, okay, they knew.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's good. And I did like the bosses in the game. There's... I'm trying to remember who they are now. So you get Bebop and Rocksteady. They're both 2 separate fights. Baxter Stockman's there. And then it's Shredder and Krang. Am I missing?
No, that's it. I was surprised to see Shredder as the level 4 boss.
Yeah, I was. And because it kind of I thought the level would be more of a Technodrome level where you see Shredder, but of course that's where Krang's hiding out. But how did you find the bosses?
To a degree, it depends on the boss. Like, the first boss, whenever you're fighting Rocksteady, what's amazing is that whenever he's firing his machine gun at you, you can actually use your weapon and knock the bullets away.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, wow. You can actually knock the bullets away. It's the only Turtles game I can think of where you can do that.
That's cool. I didn't know that, because I found pretty much all of the bosses I thought were pretty damn easy. The only one I actually lost a life on, I think, was Krang right at the end.
And the only reason why they're for me on that is because Krang has that jump kick.
Yes, that's exactly what got me, yeah. But then, so I lost, so that was when I was Donatello. And then I think I was like, by then, I was like, oh, okay, well, I know his pattern now. And then took him out pretty easily. I think all the bosses here are pretty easy. You might lose a life on your first time you fight them. And I did kind of have a memory of them as well from playing it quite a lot back in the day, which of course would have helped.
Well, the bosses do a fair bit of more damage than the regular enemies do. I want to say most of them take at least 2 chunks of your health bar.
Yeah, definitely. And what's nice is they've got a life bar as well, so you can tell. I mean, all you have to do is hit them. They don't have any weaknesses or anything. Yeah, they're good, and they look good as well. I've got to say, the sprite work here is actually very good. The turtles are big. Everything's big on the screen, and it looks really decent.
Honestly, the sprite work in this game is better than the sprite work of all 3 of the NES Turtle games.
You know, it is, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Like, they did an awesome job. It's a little different that they're very happy. They're smiling all the time.
They are, yeah. You should try, if you haven't played Back from the Sewers yet, the first one, give that a try. They look a bit stupid in that game, the turtles. They look very derpy, but, like, they're smiling the whole way while you're killing all these. Well, I guess they're only robots, but you know. But they look derpy there. But yeah, they're definitely very happy here, and the music's excellent as well. I gotta say.
Oh yeah. Again, the Game Boy is often underrated for what it can do with its audio. Yeah. It's got some great audio, especially if you're wearing headphones.
Yep. That's what I had it on. I actually had it on playing on through my TV, so it sounded really good through there. And the Turtles theme sounds excellent on the Game Boy sound chip, which it really is an underrated sound chip. I think it's better than the NES one, I reckon. But
they do excellent work with it in quite a few games, and it's got a very clean, crisp sound to it.
Yeah, and something I thought would have been nice if there was more power-ups or something like that in here. That was something I thought was missing. You get, other than health, which is of course pizza, you don't really get, well, there's no power-ups at all, I don't think, are there?
I don't believe so. I think that for the pizza, you either had the whole pizza or a slice. Like, the whole pizza would fill your life bar. The slice would do, I think, 2 blocks, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's a few,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see something, maybe at least a power-up to make the Ninja Stars usable.
Yeah, and the fact that you had to crouch with them as well made them a little bit like, it was kind of, you have to press 2 buttons to kill something rather than just pressing 1 button sort of thing. And also, I guess with the Game Boy, where the screens and the sprites are pretty big on the screen, often you don't really have time to think, oh, I'm going to use my Ninja Star on this one. Because by the time it's jumped on the screen, it kind of lands on your face anyway. So
you've got that one moment, and it's literally, like I said earlier, you take a breath, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's your time, and usually you just do your, swipe your weapon, the robot blows up, and you move about the level.
Yeah, and and like you said earlier, it's a very quick, it's a relatively easy game. You'd likely beat it on your first couple of goes, and I think my playthrough was probably under half an hour after, because I played through it a couple of times ready for this, and I think my most recent one was probably about 25 minutes or so. Which I think for a Game Boy game, that's very reasonable. That's
about what I averaged. How I first played the game was I borrowed it. Someone had borrowed a Game Boy game for me, which was, I think, Golf, if I remember right. Which, strangely, a good version of Golf, because I usually don't like golf games, but the Game Boy one I actually kind of enjoyed.
Yeah.
But this game, I borrowed it for a week, managed to run through and beat it 2 or 3 times, and, then we swapped back. I was pretty well good. Now, if I had seen it in stores, if it was cheap enough, I might have picked it up. But I probably wouldn't have paid more than, like, in the US, $10 or $15 for it.
Yeah, that's fair. I think like I said, because I got my Game Boy when the Pokemon craze started, so I was quite late to the Game Boy. But a few of my friends and my cousin had it. I think if we did have it, we probably would have got this game, because we had to have everything Ninja Turtles. I think we probably would have had all 3 of them, more than likely, and I know I would have played them, because again, games like this as well, which it's pretty easy and you can go through it, but that does mean that I'd go back and play it again, because when you're like, oh, I've got a few minutes to kill, I'll probably just blast through Turtles.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good game if you were a kid to where you had a Game Boy collection of at least, like, let's say 5 games. This is a perfect game to have in there, because you can use one of the other games to kind of cleanse your palate, and then you pop this one back in and do a quick run through. It's fun and enjoyable.
Yeah, and that was the thing. That even though it was easy and whatever, but it was always fun. There's not really any glitching or anything like that I noticed. It's just a simple go to the side, flash up some Foot Clan, off you go.
But now, I will say this, though. The theme definitely adds to the game. Like, if this were just a generic sword-slashing game, I wouldn't have gotten nearly the same enjoyment out of it.
You know, I never thought of it like that. That's probably very true. If it was anything else, if it was like a brand new IP, I'd probably think, oh, this is boring.
But the fact that it had the Ninja Turtles IP, and it was a solidly built game, I mean, you did the same thing throughout the entire game, but the mechanics were solid. Yeah,
and the fact that it's short, that helps it, you know, because it doesn't outstay its welcome. It doesn't really get boring.
Right, like, if it's for 8 levels instead of 5, it would be too much.
Yeah, they would have had to do something to mix it up a bit somewhere.
Like, I feel like as much as I enjoy it, Ninja Turtles 2 on the NES, the arcade version, it almost overstays its welcome with the 2 additional stages.
Right, yeah, but this one's, I mean, especially, again, for a handheld, that's all you want, because you might be playing it in the back of a car on a journey or something. That's what you want. You don't want a game that's really long, because obviously there's no save or password. Although, actually, I did notice on the title screen, when you can choose what starting level you want to start from. Which was a bit odd.
You can choose which level, but if you do not start at level 1, it doesn't give you the ending.
Okay, I didn't realize that. That makes sense.
That being said, the ending is pretty, it's a quick crawl.
It's I did quite like the in-between levels. You do always get like a start and an end to the level. You get a little intro to say, oh, April's been kidnapped, and then at the end of the level they'd be like, oh, she's gone to the sewers or whatever, she's on the Technodrome. And I did quite like the fact that you do get an explanation as to where you are and why you're just kind of fighting in random places.
Now, if you're interested in playing a slightly upgraded version of this game, there is a gentleman that's making something called Fall of the Foot Clan DX. It's more or less a colorized version of this game. Looks very pretty. So far, there's only a demo out that does only the first level. It's a 42 megabyte download, and it came out 2 years ago, so I'm not sure if this project is even still going, if it's been abandoned, but at least with the demo you can get a look of maybe what could have been, because it looks like from the graphics it could have come out, I want to say TurboGrafx 16, better than the NES, not as good as the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, oh, that's cool. I'll have to check that out. It's a really fun game. It's just good, you just switch off for a few minutes, don't you? It's a good game to do that with.
I played the demo, and it's really good. It's faithful to the Game Boy, but again, it's got the nice colorized graphics on it, and he does a very, very good job. I'm hoping that the full thing eventually gets released.
Right, yeah, that'd be great.
So, outside of your childhood memories of it, did you ever go back to it? Did you pick up a game collecting, anything along those lines?
Not with this one, no. I did. So, collecting wise, I stuck with the 8 and 16-bit consoles mainly. So I've got pretty much every Turtles game. I think I have got that one out. So I've got like the Tournament Fighters, and I've got Turtles in Time. I've also got Manhattan Project. Hyperstone Heist. That's what I'm thinking of. And controversially, I prefer Hyperstone Heist to Turtles in Time, which a lot of people don't agree with. But I've got all those ones. But the Game Boy ones, no, I haven't. Funnily enough, today I was in the retro store near me, and I was very tempted by a Game Boy Color that they had there for a very good price. But I didn't pick it up. I bought Bayonetta 2 instead for the Wii U.
It's a similar story here. I only gotten the console versions. I had actually forgotten about the Game Boy games until the Cowabunga collection came out, and I saw it included this game. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that,
Yeah, because I even now I kind of and ah about should I get the Cowabunga collection, but because I know I've got them on the other systems anyway, I'm like, I don't know, but I probably should. And I still haven't played Shredder's Revenge, which I've heard is excellent.
It's been my favorite out of the 3 Game Boy games, just because, like I said earlier, it plays a lot like an early Metroidvania.
Right. Oh, that's cool. I do need to do that. Yeah.
That's not Shredder's Revenge, the 3rd Game Boy game. I'm sorry.
Oh, Radical Rescue. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Shredder's Revenge, the new.
I'm getting my games confused.
Too many turtles. Too many turtles.
Never enough turtles.
Yeah. Do you have a favourite iteration of the Turtles? Like, do you always go back to the 80s and 90s ones? That tends to be my one.
Yeah, my favorite iteration is probably the live action from the first and second movies.
Yes, that first one, I actually watched that so recently, and I also found the soundtrack on vinyl in a charity shop, which I couldn't believe, so I bought that. But that first movie is genuinely just a really good film.
It holds up to this day.
It really does, it really does. Anyone that hasn't seen it, I highly recommend you watch it. It genuinely is very good.
And the second movie is not as good as the first one, but I think it still is a decent movie. I would more or less put it at the same level as Ghostbusters 2 versus Ghostbusters 1.
Yeah, that works.
It's the same kind of step to where it's watchable if you enjoyed the IP.
Yeah, definitely.
And then the third movie never happened.
Yeah, what third movie? I don't know. There's no third. Have you seen the newest one, the Mutant Mayhem or whatever it's called? I haven't seen that yet.
No, I have not seen that one yet. The last ones I really watched, there was one, I think it came out in theaters in 2007, that was CG.
Yes, yeah, I thought that was alright.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And then Nickelodeon did like a crossover one where they had like the 80s Turtles and the modern Turtles and the old comic book Turtles. It was like a big old multi-timeline crossover thing. It was pretty enjoyable.
You know, I did actually watch that one. I really enjoyed that.
It was
because they showed the whole multiverse thing, didn't they? They showed the live-action Turtles in a clip as well, and like that was really good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one.
Have you seen? Sorry, I don't want to go too many tangents for you, but have you seen Batman and Ninja Turtles, that animated film?
I've seen clips from it. I haven't actually been able to sit down and watch the whole thing, but I've seen a few clips on YouTube that I just clicked on, really, and it looked entertaining. The fact that Batman is just annihilating the Turtles, it's like, whoa! Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's really well done. That's a really good one.
And they pay some major respect to Shredder after Shredder's been made a joke, because Shredder tears up Batman.
Yeah, you can hell out of him. Yeah, which I always liked, because I do think, I mean, obviously, if things are for kids, it's not necessarily as easy to do, but I think they should really make Shredder kind of a bit more intimidating. I mean, he's fantastic in the 80s and 90s cartoon, because he's a bit of a doofus, but they should, make him scarier now.
Yeah, and he was a beast in that first movie.
Oh, yeah, but he did the same thing. Well, I don't want to give any spoilers, but yes, he's great in that first movie.
And
watched it.
He wasn't bad in the second movie. Then they kind of, made him a joke later on in the newer Michael Bay films.
I mean, those were a real shame. They just made him into a transformer, basically.
Yeah, pretty well. It was upsetting.
Yeah.
But thankfully, we've got the original stuff to look back on that's still really good.
Exactly. Yeah.
So before we wrap it up, do you want to go ahead and plug your show and anything else you're on, anything you got coming up, any previous shows that you want to point out?
Yeah, great. Well, you can find me at The Reviews Brothers, mainly on YouTube. I do have an Instagram as well, and a Patreon, so you're welcome to check all of those out. They've all got various different bits of content on them. We've got plenty of stuff currently going through the A to Z of PlayStation 2 hidden gems, among other things, on my YouTube channel. We're up to the letter Q, which is not easy to find games for, but, we're getting there. So we're doing 10 games per letter. Always happy to have people on the channel, as you know, as you've been on the channel. And, yeah, I mean, that's where you want to find me. That's where I'll be.
Yep, be sure to check out Martin with the Reviews Brothers. Lots of awesome content. I've pulled down some of the episodes, and really entertaining to listen to. So be sure to go check that out. And again,
you featured on the wrestling one, so.
Oh yeah, well I had to whenever I saw you were doing the wrestling one. So I had just done the wrestling month. I'm like, yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I appreciate you taking time out of your day to come on.
Anytime, always a pleasure.
All right, thank you, and hopefully maybe we'll get you back on another episode here in the next few months.
I hope so.
Alrighty, thank you again. Have a good one.
See ya.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Follow the Foot Plan is gonna turn your Game Boy into a lean, green, fighting machine! With 5 new shell-shocking shredder zones, it's a good thing you have 4 turtlenecks to wrist!
And that's a wrap for episode 65, but we're just getting started with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Secret of the Reviews. Be sure to check back in all month long for more reviews of retro Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games. And also, while you're listening to all kinds of stuff, check out Martin from the Reviews Brothers. He's on YouTube got some really good YouTube videos out there. He's also on Spotify with a Review Brothers podcast. Definitely worth taking time out of your day to go listen to. All kinds of gaming memories from him that he does as well. Great channel, great stuff to listen to. If you want to keep checking out stuff, be sure to check out our show notes where we've got links to a Discord if you'd like to join in and chat a little bit about retro games with some of the other listeners. There's also a Patreon link. I do post some news links over there every once in a while, and if you'd like to pay $1 a month to support the show and get a shout out at the end of every episode, that option is there for you. You can check out friends of the show, including Retro Gaming Roundup, Secret Levels, and the Lost and Gone podcast. As far as my show, the show logo and artwork has been done from Toby Von Doom from Secret Levels. I'm toying with the logo he made a little bit. You're kind of putting it on the old style NES cartridge. I think it looks pretty cool, but let me know what you think, if you'd like the old plainer logo better, if you like the newer one. The intro and outro music is done by Grim from the Lost and Gone podcast as well. Modified the intro just a little bit for the Turtles month, just like I did for the Wrestling month back in March. But he does an awesome job with the tunes that he makes. You should definitely go check out his show. Again, thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to Afterglow, and we will see you for more Retro Ninja Turtle games for the rest of the month of June.